Hello and welcome to Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Ryan, and I'm here with my co-hosts Josh and Ethan. We are here for our playoff special. We're going to be doing dream lineups, a couple of other things. I'm going to go ahead and send you over to Josh,
Hot
As
take.
Ryan,
One of
who
as
one of the
actually
three of
knows
us.
everything.
Hold on. I'm starting off with a hot take. My hot take is
Oh,
one of the three of us will not be in the playoffs this year.
okay. It's probably going to
oh,
be you. But all right, let's go ahead.
It'll probably be me.
Josh,
be-
take it
so
away.
yeah, I'll take it away as Ryan has called it. Just he and I texting each other. This is the championship cheat sheet, and I really,
Yes.
really like that because
The
we're gonna
playoff preview,
basically,
the championship cheat sheet,
yeah, this is what you need
the
to get
video of
ready.
champions.
Yep, the video champions. Hey, I like that one too. So this we're going to tell you basically who we feel is going to be the best in the fantasy playoffs this year. And we are doing it like normal, decent human beings as weeks 15, 16, and 17. If you do it
Ryan,
on week 18,
Ryan,
that's menace to society
By
behavior.
mistake. By
worst
mistake.
commissioner in
Dude,
the world.
By
yeah, that is
mistake.
look,
All
at
right.
least Ryan has a tone, but man, Ethan
Okay,
has
once
Ethan
is
never live it
kind of a
down.
mistake, Ryan. Twice is blatant.
No,
No,
You
once I
no,
didn't realize
Ri- Ethan,
the
Ethan,
first time
remember
I
the
didn't realize it that it was on the 18th. That was the first year that we did it. And then
Josh, it stinks in here. You smell that bull crap? Go ahead and
and then
continue,
the
Josh.
last
No, get us
then the
started, Ryan.
second time.
No,
Okay.
get us started. I don't want to hear your crap
No, and
excuses
then
and
the
lies.
second time I we started the league and you didn't remind me because you said
Oh, so
something
it's
at
my
the end
fault
of the
now.
year
Okay, so it's my
and
fault
I
now.
didn't change
All
it.
right, it's my fault,
So
Josh.
we
He's
got
gonna gaslight me
no,
because it's
we
my
got
fault.
all the way through that
What? You're
year
telling me
and
you
then we
didn't know
got
it
to
was
the
week
playoffs.
17? Oh,
No, we
I can't
got to
believe
the
you didn't know and didn't
playoffs
remind me,
and
dude.
you
What the
went,
heck?
"Why didn't you change it?" I was like, "Okay, all right. I
I
made the
said it
mistake.
throughout
I
the entire
apologize."
year. Why didn't you change it?
I know. I know. I made a
and now
mistake.
you see
All right.
why this is menace to society behavior because this
No,
is
yeah,
this
because Ethan is
be,
bitter about it and he can't ever let it go.
look,
I've
No, because
apologized.
I'll be
sometimes you're
honest with you,
right,
Ryan.
and sometimes you're Ryan is a real thing.
Dude, I don't know if I would get over it. And so
Gosh.
playoff tip number one, because I wanted to
Even though
start
it
off there.
proved,
Just
Don't
even though
cost your
he
league
wouldn't have
mates
even won,
championships by
I went
screwing up
back.
the playoff schedule.
I
That's
went
tip
back.
number one. Go
I
ahead,
went
Josh.
back
No,
and
I don't want to hear it. I don't
I
want to hear it.
looked at the scores
Hmm.
and he wouldn't have even won.
Yes, I would.
because so I think I remember why that is, Ethan, is because if we pushed everything back a week earlier, playoffs would have looked differently. So matchups would have been differently.
You would have lost in the first
Yeah,
To
round.
who?
because
No. To
Yeah.
who?
it was
I
for
think it was
someone
to
else. I
Ashley.
remember though. It was it Ashley? Okay.
I think it was to
I
Ashley.
wouldn't have played
Ashley, I
Ashley
All right.
till
remember
week two.
Ashley would have won that year, that second year that it happened.
Yeah, and then she
Ashley would have
ended up
won.
upsetting
Nope.
Tyler, and what still will be the funniest
Yeah.
first round upset I will probably ever experience in my life. So that I mean that's one memory. I'll tell you another painful memory. There's one dude, and he will know exactly who I'm talking about if he listens to this. He and I, we knew he and I were the best teams in the league, but we both had we both were having a lot of like driving the struggle bus. So we were both 6-5. Mind you, this is no, not 6-5. We were seven. It would have been what 14, 15, 16. Yeah. So this is week 13. We're both 6-6. And this is like, hey, winner makes it into the last spot. And we both knew whoever was winning this matchup was going to win the whole league. So I had the trouble. My receivers that year were DK, Calvin Ridley, Diggs, and Deontay Johnson.
Wait, why can't I see the
And
pull up? What?
what happened? Oh, yeah. So this is 2020. So what happened here is I left Calvin Ridley in thinking he had a good matchup, scores 8 points. And now I'm dealing with the situation is I need 22 to win. I went, you know what? I got it. I can't do Diggs. I'll do Deontay. And I put DK in there. DK basically hit average like 14 around that point. Deontay hits 21.6.
Dang.
And I lose the matchup and the league by 4/10 of a point. And I was bitter about it, especially because we how ESPN always does the the consolation bracket.
Uh-huh.
And this was when it was like they combined the 2 weeks, and I beat everyone by 200.
Wait. No, I have a quick thing. So Ryan, you said Ashley would have won it all last year. Ashley went 3-12
No.
last year.
No,
She
no,
wasn't
no,
even
this
in the
was
year
two-
playoffs.
before.
Year before,
I know.
year before.
You always bring Ryan, you're such a slut. You always bring up the year before, and I'm never talking about the year before. I'm always talking about last year. I'm
Literally,
always
like,
talking about
because
2021.
last year, I know, but last year we went to 17, not 18.
No, we went
No,
to
we
We
don't.
18
went to
last
week
year.
17.
No, no,
No,
no, no, no. It
playoffs
was the
went to
year.
week 18
We
last
went.
year.
Okay, so
In
I was
2021, we
wrong.
went to week 18 last year. Yes, and I would have won it all.
But you
Except you
didn't.
didn't.
Yeah, because Ryan screwed up the schedule. Anyways, Ryan's wrong
But yeah.
as usual. Nothing has changed. Nothing
So-
is new. Continue, Josh.
All right, so okay, as we just vent our fantasy
As
playoff
Ethan
frustrations,
cries,
As Ryan tries to defend himself
as
and is
Ethan
wrong yet
cries,
again.
so
because
I
he
want to ask you
lost.
guys one question here before we get into our dream lineups. What is the one tip that you have always taken into the fantasy playoffs?
Don't let Ryan be commissioner.
Oh my goodness, Ethan, actual answer.
Wow, sounds like somebody doesn't want to be in our league
Actual
next year.
actual answer is looking ahead like what we're doing right now, doing like a 15 to 17 preview of like who do I need to have on my team and who do I need to get rid of.
Nice.
Yeah, actually having a bit of a like look forward
A plan.
instead of looking at the past, look forward
Because like
and
it's really easy
try
to
to
just
predict
trust what's
on.
gotten you here,
Yeah.
but then you get like a tough matchup and you get 7 points in a game that you need to win.
Yeah.
Like when Jamar Chase scored what, like 1 point in your week 15 loss to Ashley?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. It was
Because like it was a combination of both. Like you weren't looking ahead and seeing that like Jamar Chase had a tough matchup and you didn't trust a player and it cost you a championship potentially. Well, no one was going to beat your dad that year, but
no,
still.
yeah.
A fighting
That's
chance
still,
at it,
that's
at
still
least.
one of the most impressive runs I've ever seen in fantasy.
Yeah.
No, for
He
sure.
remained undefeated past week 4.
Yeah,
Like
that
after
was
week 4,
berserk.
he went 0-4
And
through
then
week
didn't lose
4,
again
and
until
then
this season.
after week 5, he blew whoever he played out of the water.
And
And
never looked back.
continued to do so for the rest of the year through the
Speaking of which, we
championship.
gotta get that trophy for him so he can have it for like a
Yes.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got to get my
we need to
union
get
dues
that.
in. We can do
So,
that afterwards.
I will tell you my tip is I have two. One, embrace the roster shenanigans.
Yeah.
Like picking up extra defenses or grabbing
Oh.
your other team's star.
I have a second one when you're done, sorry.
Like go yeah.
No, finish.
Other
I have a
teams
second one when you're done.
like bench players just so that you can't give them pivot options. I would definitely embrace that. And
Yeah.
on top of that, go don't be scared, go all in. Because I say that because you have nothing left to lose. Like last year, I had an inkling of a chance to make playoffs, but I didn't
You
have
didn't go for it.
I didn't go for it. I didn't have the stones to start Rashad Penny, and that did me in.
Yep. That lost you
And-
those last two games.
Yeah,
when
I
you
lost
got like 30
literally-
points each.
My gotta have it game was against Ryan last year, and I lost
Yeah.
by 4.
Ryan and Ashley, right?
Yeah, Ryan and Ashley. I think I lost by a combined like
In
10
week
points.
15?
No,
You beat
right
me.
before week 15.
No, right before week
Oh,
15,
okay.
because it became that because I knew I wasn't being your dad in the last week. I knew that wasn't happening. So I knew that I had to be
It was against me in the last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was week 14.
Yeah, week 14.
I'm looking
And
at week
so-
14 right now.
What
Yeah.
no,
yeah,
that
yeah.
you and I
Yeah.
might have been week 13. So but either way, like
I don't
that's
know.
where
It was
I
a gotta have
should've-
it against Ryan.
It was a gotta have it. And at this point, you have to understand, like you have nothing left to lose. So whatever fear you have, just throw it in there and just know that you tried.
Yeah.
And you ended up beating me last
That
week.
week?
132 to 100.
Maybe it's against Paul. Maybe it's Paul.
Maybe it
and Ashley
was
that he
against
had to win.
Paul. Yeah, I knew I had a gotta have it, and I lost both, and it was painful. And because,
sorry, I'm just
especially
looking at last
because
year's
I
playoff
did
run.
so much to get in, like to get myself in there, because I had
Well, the
unfortunately
biggest
a
thing
really
that hurt you
crappy
too-
draft. Yeah,
Well, that and you traded away Pollard when he was hitting form
yeah, no,
for Gus
and-
Edwards, who went on IR.
yeah. Well, I didn't know at that point. I
Yeah,
really
but you
thought
let the
Gus was
fandom
going
get the
to be.
best of you.
Yeah, I would say that. And
Just
then
like me drafting Calvin Ridley in the second got the best of me fandom wise.
Yeah. And then like I had to do a bunch of trades. I got Mooney. Mooney was literally saving me weeks. I got Kittle, but and I did all that work. And because I couldn't give myself to go one extra step to put in Rashad Penny, gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Ryan, do you have
There
anything?
you go.
I don't want to give mine before you go.
No, I'm good.
So, all right, if Ryan's good, my last one would be trust your gut, because
Yes.
the entirety of my postseason run to the championship was Ryan and Josh questioning me about my line about starting Rexhead, about starting DK, about starting. There's one other one that you guys were getting on to me about, but there's three players that you guys were on week over week about, and then in my losing effort, DK scores 30. And Rex had put up, I think he had 21 or like 18 or
Yeah.
19. It was something like that.
Yeah, he
But
was over the projection.
yeah, like all these guys that I was questioned on that I believed in, and did my homework beforehand and knew that they were going to have good matchups. They all performed. Now I still lost, but they performed. So point being, trust your gut, win or lose, like do your homework, watch your matchups.
Yeah.
It'll work out or it won't. That's fantasy.
Yep. Absolutely. And so we kind of, speaking of work, we have done the work and we have given out a dream lineup. So instead of week by week, we are going to talk about weeks 15 through 17. And we're going to give you who we think are the best players for this matchup.
Yep.
On top of that, we're going to tell you who to go for, who to not. So, gentlemen, who are your quarterbacks for the playoffs?
Kirk Cousins. No, I'm joking.
Ooh.
I'm joking.
Oh,
I'm
I was
joking.
about to
No,
say.
no Kirk Cousins. No.
No Kirko
Kirko
Chains?
Chains.
No Kirko Chains.
Ah,
My QB, and it was a hard choice. I had it between three. It was between Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow, and I chose
Okay, three
Joey
solid choices.
B.
There you go. I like that.
really?
Yep.
I like
I
the
like
pick.
that.
I like the pick.
He'll more than likely have Jamar Chase back.
Yep.
One thing that he, has desperately been missing the last couple of weeks. He has some tough matchups, but honestly, I'm willing to look past that and
Sure.
kind of see the potential.
So
that he's got
you
with
are
Jamar
in
Chase there.
you're in the conversation where Joe Burrow is very much like, I don't care who he's
I think
playing.
he's gonna
We're going to
make-
get the volume to make
he's
it
gonna
work.
It's
make
Joey
it
B.
work.
It's
He's gonna make it
Yeah.
work.
Icy Joe.
So that's my choice. My backups are Josh Allen and Patty Mahomes. So
Not a bad backup to have. Who you got, Josh?
yeah,
I got Lamar Jackson. He's
The
playing
fandom.
Cleveland.
The fandom gets him again.
No,
Go
the
ahead.
fandom. Here's, I'll be honest, the fandom's not getting to me here, and I know Rashad Bateman's
All
out.
right.
I know all these other things.
All right.
But
Can we make a deal right now? Gentlemen's agreement. I want to hear your analysis, but a gentleman's agreement right now. If Lamar Jackson costs you in the playoffs for your actual team, because you have them, and for this, you are not allowed to have any more Ravens players or trade for, pick up anything.
why? Why couldn't stop me from
Gentlemen's
that?
agreement, because your fandom is getting the best.
You
of
don't
you
have
now.
to.
I
Gentlemen's
don't
agreement.
think so. All right, let
You
me
don't have to
explain my
accept.
point,
You
and
don't
I
have
don't.
to accept, but I'll roast you if you don't.
All right, fine. I don't care. Roast me all you.
There you
all-
go.
all
He's
you care.
confident. He's confident.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
here's why: is the playoff matchups Cleveland, Atlanta, Pittsburgh. Now,
Okay.
I do think it's a pretty easier schedule, and even beforehand is easier. So I'm like, okay, I like that. It's kind of kind of cupcake going forward. It's kind of like Lamar in 2020. I understand he doesn't have Bateman, but but the quick passing game is what's going to be important here. I think a lot of teams, especially if you saw the Tampa game, especially if you saw the New Orleans game, it was quick passing. And I think that's going to be the biggest key to get the run game going. And even then, this Ravens defense, and I mean, I'll talk about them later. They're playing some really bad offenses. So I think
Yeah.
Lamar is going to have
Yeah.
a lot of high scoring opportunities.
I
It may
agree.
not be the flashy 75-yard run, but give me a short
grind it
field
out.
and Lamar. Exactly. And I definitely think it's going to be a very interesting postseason for him.
With that, I would say there's
Hmm.
only one wrench for Lamar, and that would be a Cleveland Browns or Atlanta Falcons playoff push.
Hmm.
Like if they can figure it out and start pushing for playoffs and can make that game competitive, that would be the only wrench for him. I'm not saying like
Yeah,
that's going to happen. I'm saying like if you're looking for a downside, that's the only one.
Yeah, especially Atlanta because it is Dean Pease and there is a familiarity. But even then, I still think that Greg Roman
They
and
gotta
this
get
offense
healthy
has
first.
evolved enough. Yeah, they have to get healthy first, and that's what I'm really hoping um plays out.
There you go. I like it.
All right. So Ethan, what's your
Heath,
I'm taking the man from Wyoming.
okay.
nice. Dude, he
All
was my other option. He was
I
Man
know.
from Wyoming.
The man from Wyoming.
What is that? Didn't the
The Man from
movie come
Toronto.
out?
Yeah.
The Man from Toronto.
Highly
The
recommend
Man
if you
from
haven't seen The Man
Wyoming.
from Toronto, please sponsor us also, by
Yeah,
the
it's
way.
pretty good.
Great movie. Love Kevin Hart. Shout out Kevin Hart. Anyways, Josh Allen. His schedule is Miami, Chicago, and Cincinnati. I just
that's one of the
Yeah.
those are
best
just pick apart defenses.
stretches
Mhm.
out here.
Yeah. Especially like Miami, they've been struggling defensively. Chicago's been struggling defensively since they traded away Roquan
Yeah.
Smith and
And
Robert Quinn.
that Cincy
Since
Buffs
he has
game,
never been,
yeah,
you've never been
it's
able to
gonna be
trust
high
their
scoring.
defense. Like, yeah, it's just gonna
Yeah.
be a shootout.
That's why I
So
chose Burrow because of that matchup. Like,
yeah,
okay, that's
I
gonna be
mean
that's
Buffalo might
gonna
be
be a good
healthy by
game.
that time against Cincy, so
Yeah,
that's kind of a E. But
yeah,
I mean, maybe he does it. Maybe it is just a
maybe.
like a heavyweight bout where they just trade in blows. But I wouldn't risk it, me personally.
Yeah.
But I love the Joey B pick. I
Mhm.
just wouldn't want him on my team.
Yeah.
No, and personally, like for me, I think Joey B is like that outside choice that I was like, oh, that's very interesting. The playoff stretch for Allen pre-elbow injury would have been my number one choice. It's the only thing that's terrifying me about Josh Allen.
Sure. Totally
Yeah.
valid. My
And
backups would be Mahomes.
yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
Mahomes is
Mahomes
probably
is
the safer choice for either of them, Joey B
Yeah.
and Josh Allen.
yeah.
Just because he's
That
he
Kermit
runs that
playoff push.
offense. But
It's no joke.
but I think Joey B and
The
Josh Allen are
rainbow
both
connection.
pretty good picks. I like them. All right, so
RB1s.
moving on to RB1s. Now these are RB1s. These are the guys that are
There's one
you
right
want
answer.
scoring
There is one
25
right answer.
plus points. And there is one right answer. His name is King Henry.
King Henry it
King
is.
Henry.
I agree, but he's not my RB1.
Buddy,
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's
buddy,
fine.
Derrick Henry
There's one set of
owns
matchups I
this.
like better.
Okay,
Yeah.
but Derrick Henry owns this part of the year.
I know.
Absolutely.
And he also
owns.
owns
When it
these
gets
teams, but
when it gets cold, when he starts running downhill and starts smashing people's mouths.
all right, so let's look at the matchup really quick because I understand what you're saying. But
I can tell you the matchups. It's
he's got Chargers,
Houston, and Dallas. And you want to know their run defense rank?
Bad.
Chargers 30th, Houston 32nd, Dallas 29th.
Yeah.
Good
So
good morning.
That's also why in our last episode I talked about Dallas choking away playoffs. Is because Dallas is going to have a tough stretch and a week 17 matchup against the Titans, who are going to be pushing for an AFC spot as well.
Yep.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to get interesting for the Cowboys. I don't want to get any hate, but it'll be an interesting finish.
Yep. So that's my RB1, solid RB1 for me.
My RB2.
Okay, go ahead with Josh. Go ahead with your RB1.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I've gone through 5 different people for this RB2 spot,
Okay.
but my choice, and I finally landed on it, is one Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
He's been hurt. I mean, he's been hurt all this time. He and then Matt Ryan now coming back as the starting quarterback, and now he's coming back. Jeff Saturday kind of fixing out the O-line, but his playoff push here: Minnesota, Chargers, and Giants. The rankings, obviously, Chargers are 30th, Minnesota is 16th, and the Giants are 24th. And then when he came back last week, immediately right up to a 94% snap percentage.
Yeah.
This is not a situation like Swift where like, okay, you're supposed to be healthy. What's going on? No, he is actually healthy. He's going to get the ball, whether teams
There
like
is no
it or
Jamal
not.
Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, there's no Naeem Hines either.
Exactly.
Like, it's just him. And I'm sorry, Zach Moss, but you're not touching this ball. And I
mean,
think
he's got
Jonathan
Deion Jackson whenever he's
No.
healthy, but
Well,
I don't think he's
here's
going
the
to be
thing.
stealing any touches from him.
If you haven't bought him yet, if you haven't gotten and tried for Jonathan Taylor, I think this week's your
Now
last
this
week.
is your last week. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
If you cannot pull the trigger this week, you're not getting one of the best targets for the playoffs.
And it's going to be such a
Yeah.
strong push, almost like you know how like Sun God kind of saved everybody last year in
Yeah,
their flex.
he's going to be the
it's going to be
Amon-Ra
that
of this year.
Yeah.
Now here's what I'll say
I
about him
agree with
too.
that.
My prediction for Jonathan Taylor is he's going to go from RB28 to close to the top 10.
I'm going to say RB8 personally.
Finishing RB8 from 28 to 8.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I think he's going to be a top 15.
Yeah, I'm more comfortable with top 15. If he breaks top 10, that would be
just
there's
just how far
that'd
away
be crushing.
he is.
Well, he's not that far away. He's from the top 10.
Yeah, he's not that far away. And the only reason
if they keep let's see. He's got 8 games left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he may only have 7 games left.
Oh, yeah, yes, he has a bye week 14.
But okay, then 6 games left. If they clinch a playoff spot, they're not going to play him in week 18.
Well,
that doesn't matter at that point.
I'll be honest though.
Yeah, at that point, but that limits him throughout the year.
So I understand that concern, Ryan, but right now, Indy's in a spot they have to win. They have to win out. There's no other way around it. Not when the AFC East, the worst team is 6-4. And with relatively easier schedules, like the Colts are going to have to grind it out.
So all right, here's your stat for Jonathan Taylor, right? So he's right around 60 points away from top 10. That's 3 spike games away from being in the top 10.
Yeah, and like look at some of the people above. Khalil Herbert is out.
If nobody else has any other spike games.
Yeah, Fournette is another one
that's not getting much work.
And Jeff Wilson
add
him to that cat.
Jamal Williams is probably going to drop.
Yeah, Kamara isn't going to do.
Leonard Fournette will probably drop. So Stevenson will probably drop. Aaron Jones will probably drop.
Yeah, I will tell you, Aaron Jones was also was in contention, but I feel better about Jonathan Taylor.
Injuries for Aaron Jones.
So Ethan,
yes.
What's your RB2?
I think I already know who it is.
Oh, go ahead and tell me who it is, Josh.
Is it Eccles?
No.
Really?
It's Barkley. Saquon Barkley.
That's my
going up against Washington, Minnesota, and Indianapolis.
Yep. And
yeah.
So mine is Saquon Barkley. Like the key word in this, consistency. You'll hear me say it on the podcast. He was
in mine as well. He was in contention for me.
Yeah.
But so here's the
guys
thing about
who like are consistent. And Saquon has been like the definition of consistent this year.
Yeah, and he's getting 30
going into
plus
the playoffs. You really want a sure thing, and he's my RB2, a solid lock for RB2.
So here's my thing about Austin Eckler. Why I didn't want him for the playoff push. All right, his Week 15 matchup is Tennessee.
Ooh,
yeah,
And that's a gotta have it game for a lot of people to get through their
Yeah,
first round of the playoffs. So if
especially
you're
if
relying on Eckler to get you through that first round, he might not get you there.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you've been holding on to Eckler, you probably suffered for 3 weeks, and now you're dealing with the consequences of that too.
Well, and I I think once they get Mike Williams back and Keenan Allen, they're not going to be
He's
force
gonna be
feeding
better.
him the ball anymore.
I think he'll be even better. He'll
That's
be more efficient.
I definitely
On the
think the
ground,
efficiency
yes,
thing is
but I
true.
don't. I think on the
Oh no,
ground,
they'll still use
yes,
him for checkdowns.
yeah,
They're not
but
gonna
I
change
think
their
they're
offensive
going. He's
scheme.
going to be. They're going to be playing catch up. They're going to be needing
I don't
to
know.
throw the ball, not just do check downs
They're
every
gonna be
time.
playing catch
So
up against Tennessee and
no, they're going to be
Indy.
playing catch up. Yeah, yes. I mean,
How? How are they gonna
with
be
their
having to play catch up? Those are two of the worst offenses in the NFL.
the
Well, I
Titans.
mean,
Yes, the Titans is one of the worst offenses in the, they're one of the most efficient, but one of
Yeah,
the lowest scoring points, one of the worst
true.
like
well, I mean,
conversion rates. Like, I mean,
here's the big
I
thing,
don't know.
especially when it comes to like Tennessee. It's like, all right, you better bring everything. And
Yeah,
while it may be like 2017 games, it's not going to be the chunk plays that we think Mike Williams and Keenan
right.
Allen. Plus, they're hurt. Let's not forget this. They're not going to be fully 100% when they come back to the field. They're probably playing everyone right now
Yeah,
because they also know that they have to catch up.
it's crunch
Like
time.
there's no other way around it
Yeah,
now.
they're on the
Yeah.
bubble. It's now or
Yeah.
never.
Yeah, it's now or never. And if you're in that push, I'm worried about re-injury. So that's where with
Yeah. Jamar
Eckler,
Chase and all these
exactly.
guys on the
Even Josh
Chargers.
Allen to a certain extent. Like that's what scares me is that if we're gonna push them to make it in, but do you have to sell your
What do
soul
you?
to make it
Yeah,
in?
but what are you
The
going to do
answer
once
is
you
yes,
get
but
there and your team's hurt because
Yeah,
you pushed them so hard?
that's what scares me.
So yeah, you made it to the
you let fate
playoffs,
decide
but
that one.
you
Yeah,
crumbled
at
in the
that
first
point,
week.
you just have to let the oval ball bounce.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's go to
So
wide receivers.
yeah, let's go wide receiver one. My wide receiver one is Jamar Chase. It's a tough matchup during the playoffs again, but I also had Diggs as a backup, but the offense, I think, just like Diggs, the offense is going to be run through him. It's going to be funneled through him. So that's my wide receiver one.
Well, I mean,
So
you just brought up my wide receiver one, and that's Diggs.
That's mine as well.
okay,
Yes, I
all
mean,
right.
Diggs
It
is
was
playing.
close
Yeah, it's
between
very
them.
close. But Diggs
I
is
mean,
playing Miami, Chicago, and Cincy.
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm taking that 10 out of
Yeah,
10 times.
last
Thank you.
three.
Next.
Yeah, and literally, kind of like Mahomes and the Joey B like scenarios. I think Diggs is at a point of getting the volume that I just maybe don't care about like the defenses and the matchups. I mean, I just think he's going to produce no matter what this year.
Mhm. Okay. So your both of yours,
But both of
both
ours
of
are
your wide
digs.
receiver ones are Dig. Okay. Diggles. So my wide receiver two is JJ.
That's
Justin
mine.
Jefferson.
That is not mine.
That
I'm
is
twinning
not
with both
yours.
of you
Okay.
for
All
my
right.
wide receiver one and wide receiver two.
So Ethan, let's go over JJ.
Just
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at the
yeah.
schedule, Ryan. Just give him the
Yeah,
schedule and you'll know
just
everything
the
you need to know.
schedule. Arizona, or no, no, no. Oh God.
No,
Oh,
Indy.
sorry. Indy, the Giants, and
Yep.
Green Bay.
Yep.
Yep. No,
I'm
I
So
taking
know.
all of those matchups, wide
Yeah,
receiver wise.
solid
they're
matchups,
very
and
solid.
not just that, but like he's performed like a Hall of Famer this year.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
and with the faults on the defense, they're going to be relying on him no matter what. And we're
Yeah.
making a playoff run. So
Yeah.
Oh, you're only
I
eight
they're
and
going to
I
one.
be
I don't know. It's gonna be
I
close,
I
Joe.
have
yeah, really.
I had one fear, and it's kind of why I didn't put them in the
Okay.
list,
Go ahead.
is that they are 8-1. And I
Yeah.
think how the NFC North has played out, if they have clinched it, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna let the gas come off a little bit.
Nope.
The
Nope.
only thing I
No,
could
Kirko
think that
Chains. I'm taking
They're
Kirko Chains,
getting
JJ,
their
and
week
Dalvin
they're
this
getting
year.
their first round bye.
I
They're
gotcha.
going for the
Okay.
first round bye.
Okay.
Dude,
So
no, listen, from everything I've heard from Dalvin Cook and JJ about how bad they want it, no.
Okay.
yeah,
I believe in the
That's
Vikings
that's
all the way
fair.
through.
That's fair. So
yeah.
I went with a dark horse pick here. And
Okay.
I do like the JJ pick. I'm not this is
Kadarius
me.
Toney.
No.
Oh,
No. He wasn't in consideration for flex. But I actually am going with Chris Godwin.
oh,
Really
Yes. Look,
okay.
snap
interesting.
since week 5, his snap percentage has been up literally 89% and above. His lowest target total since week 5 is 8. He has gone over 10 targets almost every single game since then. And then he gets to play Cincy, Arizona, and Carolina for the playoffs.
Ooh,
Okay.
It's why I traded for
that's a
him, is
good
because
schedule.
the
Yeah.
target
Okay.
volume is there and the matchup
Oh,
is there.
yeah. I'm sorry. I'm gonna blow
Okay, I get it.
the top off of our later segment, but he's probably
No,
the biggest trade for if you can get
yeah,
him.
yeah, for
Yep.
sure.
Like if
I'm in
someone's willing to
full.
sell Godwin, he will win you a championship.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why I went for him, and I actually gave up a lot. There was one, I actually so in that trade, I gave up Duvernay and Devin Duvernay, and I gave up one more person I forgot, but it was all to get Godwin. Oh, it was Duvernay and Jeff Wilson for
Yeah.
Mozart and Godwin, and I was like, I am willing to give up Jeff Wilson here because he's been playing really good, but I was
Mhm.
like, Godwin is the most important piece to me, and I need to get that on my team right now.
There it is.
Yep,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah,
So
that's it. So let's go ahead and move on to tight end. Mine is a lock for me. I mean, workload, matchups, target share, everything
Yeah,
leans
we should all agree
Kelsey.
on this one. Yeah.
yeah,
Tight end one all year
There's no other
and
option.
through the
I don't
playoffs.
think there's
He
another
is tight end
option.
one.
I'll give 3 options if you want to
Yeah.
think of if you don't have Kelsey, because obviously Kelsey is
I have
far and
one.
away the top guy.
I've got one.
Who's your other one?
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson
Yep.
is one. He was
Yep.
in contention for me. And then if you want to take deeper shots, say you're in a deeper league, Dawson Knox, Isaiah Likely.
And Komet.
Likely to
If
bust. Let's go to
Komet keeps
flexes.
going, I
Yeah.
don't see it. I don't see it him producing 2 touchdowns a game, but I do see him
Getting the
being
targets.
used in that
Yeah,
offense.
it's
getting the
just
target.
enough targets, because even with Andrews on the field, they were targeting him early in the year, and I think post bye week you're going to see that again, because with the Bateman injury, there's no choice but to go to Likely. Like it's do or die at this point. So I know at least the chances will be there, and that's more than I could say about a lot of other tight ends, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I would say right now, Kelsey is the top guy. I don't care what the schedule looks like. Literally, Kelsey is, I think after this year, is a first ballot fantasy Hall of Fame. Just the consistency of being the top guy at tight end is just at this point, it's too crazy to ignore.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
So what's yours?
My tight end, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it was Kelsey.
we're all in
All right. I
agreement
didn't
on
know if you
Kelsey.
agreed with me or not. So
Yeah, Kelsey against Houston, Seattle, and Denver. Let's go to
okay.
flexes.
Yeah.
Let's
do
go
it.
ahead and go to flex number 1 for me was a toss up. I tried to do one flex position as being a running back and one being a wide receiver.
I did the
So
same
this was
thing.
this was a little tough for me because I tried to pick people who are worthy of the flex position, who are generally not in somebody's wide receiver 1 or 2 or RB 1 or 2. So I chose Donta Foreman. I know his matchups aren't good, but they're leaning on him hard.
Yeah, the volume will be there.
The volume will be there if
so it's
the
a
matchup.
volume play.
It's a volume play for me.
You're just not going
My
to get
other
that
2
volume play in
choices,
a flex.
yeah, my other 2 choices, exactly. You don't get that volume play anywhere else. So my other two choices were Jeff Wilson and Cordell Patterson.
I
I
like
was
I
kind of
like
having
both those
a hard
picks.
time picking between those three, but I went with the volume share because what he could be and what he could produce off of that volume was worth putting him in the flex. So that's my number one flex. So you guys can go ahead with yours. But
All right, Ethan, who's your flex?
My flex was Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders?
Yep, I like it.
Miles
I like it.
Sanders.
Okay.
I like it because
He's going up
Interesting.
against Chicago, Dallas, and New Orleans, and we know that all of those are
yeah,
not
that's a
good
good one.
defenses
That's a good one.
in the
Yeah.
current moment.
Man, that even makes me want to consider Hurts again because
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Dallas were always like, oh, defense is Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, but they have not been good at
Against the
stopping the
run,
run.
no.
Yeah, and that's all the Eagles do. My flex is Jamal Williams. I mean, you play against the Jets. Yes, Jets are going to be tough, but after that, Carolina and Chicago.
Fair.
Okay.
And I think Jamal
I
Williams
just hate
gets enough
Jamal
goal line
Williams.
work. I think he gets enough goal line work to get this
Well,
consideration.
let me rephrase that. I hate Jamal Williams in a fantasy aspect. I think he's an amazing human being and football player.
That's true.
That's very true.
We love you, Jamal Williams. Just
So
not in
yes.
fantasy.
Please come on the show.
okay, so that's our
Yes.
flex one. So
Yep.
our flex two, mine is Rondale Moore.
Oh, I like
Okay.
that pick.
It
I like
wasn't a
that
play.
pick.
It wasn't a matchup. It wasn't matchup focused. It was Rondale
It's a
has
shot in the dark.
solidified himself as the number two
He definitely
receiver
has.
there.
Rob, I
And
totally agree with you.
he's you know Kyler's starting to lean on him a little more, and I love it. I am glad I'm seeing it. He's starting to produce potential low end wide receiver one numbers,
Yes.
or wide receiver two numbers, and I'm happy to see that. For those that bought into him, what, last year or the
Yeah,
year
last
before?
year.
So those that really bought into him didn't really see him produce last year, and now he struggled at the beginning of the year being even on the field. Now he could potentially, if he gets up to speed, win you leagues and in a flex position. So yeah, that's my number two flex. So Josh, what's yours?
Okay.
My number two flex is Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
So
I like
he's a clear number one in the Jets passing offense, but he gets to play Detroit, Jacksonville,
Ooh.
and Seattle. And Seattle has improved greatly their defense, like just over the last few weeks. But their run D is not very good, and the Jets, if anything, are a good running team. So I see that as a lot of opportunities for Garrett Wilson to produce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure. Okay. And what's yours, E?
My flex two is my actual flex two for my team, which is
Mhm.
Chris Godwin.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
Godwin is in that fair
It's
consideration
a volume play.
because of the
Mhm.
injury, because of the Buck struggle this year. I think that's a really good pick.
Yeah, he hasn't been vaulted into a wide receiver two spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Not
though I
yet.
did. Even though I did.
I mean,
But
last
his
year was
potential is,
last
and
week was close. Last week
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
close, but we need to
his
keep seeing.
production over the last couple of weeks, like I think it was 2 weeks, he's seen low end wide receiver two production, which is what you want to see from him.
Well, he
Exactly.
started. I mean, over these last 2 weeks, I'd say we're
Yeah.
seeing high end wide receiver two production from
Mhm.
him, but it's just not consistent. If
Yeah.
he gets consistent, then he becomes a low end wide receiver one.
Mm-hmm. So that's our flex two. Let's go ahead and do
Defense.
DSTs.
Yep.
So my DST for the playoffs is the Baltimore Ravens
Same here.
going up
Okay.
against Cleveland Atlanta and Pittsburgh in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Cleveland
but
might be a
they're
little
gonna have to
tough.
play against Desmond Ritter, so that's
Cleveland
a
might be
trap
a little
game.
tough when they get Watson
You're
back
telling
in.
me my
That might be a
fandom.
rough matchup. But Atlanta and Pitt, I think they're gonna roll over them. And yeah,
Yeah, but
so
even then, also the acquisition of Roquan Smith is
yeah,
what paid dividends already.
mhm,
Especially in that New Orleans matchup. So and they get Marcus Williams back pretty soon.
yeah. So yeah, that's mine
Ravens is mine as
and
well.
yours.
Yeah, so
E,
Ethan,
what is your DST for the playoffs?
I'm riding the Patriots all the way to the championship.
Pats. All right.
ooh, I like that. They
Even
are
though they're
We got
facing
even
oh,
though
who
they're
are they
facing
facing?
Miami.
Yeah,
and
interesting.
Cincy.
Okay.
Raiders, Cincy, and Miami for
Ooh,
Patriots.
they are the
But
number
I
one
believe,
defense
Interesting.
in fantasy right now.
Yeah, they are. They are.
I believe, I believe in Bill
Okay.
Belichick. Belichick and
All
Saban
right.
are my kind of people. They're DB guys.
Interesting.
Okay.
I
So
So
like
I'm
that
that
not I'm
is
pick.
not going to
our
draw any conclusions as to myself, but I'm just saying
yeah.
me, Belichick, Saban, all DB guys. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
So those are
I don't know.
our dream lineups for weeks 16, no, 15,
15.
16, and
Look, Ethan, you
17.
almost did it again.
15, 16, and 17.
See, it's on his
Um,
brain. He's like week 16, 17, and 18.
yep, exactly. No, so week 15, 16, 17. Those are
Mhm.
our dream lineups. So we have a couple more things to go over. We have trade for category. So let's discuss some people that we feel like are worthy to trade for the playoffs that could maybe win you leagues. And we've talked about I know we've talked about a couple of them for
Yeah.
me. Um and one of them is a bit of a reach. I think he's a buy low candidate right now. Um we've talked about him. We kind of trashed him over the last couple of weeks, but DeAndre Swift, do you think it's
What?
a potential buy low for the playoffs if he gets healthy? I know it's a surprise,
I
but
think
I thought about this and I wanted to pose that to you guys to see what you
hmm,
thought
I just don't know what's
because
happening over
I
there.
of course, yeah,
personally
and that's why I'm saying it's a big question mark. So keep
if
that in mind for somebody who wants to take the chance on a potential high-end RB1 when Detroit figures their crap out.
if I had a hole at running back, I would make the buy low. But if my RBs are pretty solid at the moment, I don't think I make the move.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the only reason I'm thinking that is that it's such a risk right now. Like Swift might be the most volatile like fantasy asset out there right now because
Mhm.
he's either going to get 9 points and he's getting really lucky so far that he's had 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks. Because
Yeah.
if he hasn't had that, then we're saying the sky is falling for
Yeah.
him. And it's going to be a situation where it's like, all right, what I
Do or
don't
die.
know. It's a do or die.
Yeah.
And so that's whereas if I was solid at running backs and which in most of my leagues I am, like I'm not going to go for
So
Swift.
if you're desperate enough
Yes.
and you have, say, the draft capital or somebody that you can trade, you could take a chance
Yes.
on it. So that was kind of like the trade for scenario that I had for that one. My other two we've already talked about. Um, Chris Godwin,
Yep.
which we've already discussed, and JT,
Yep.
just
I,
because his playoff schedule is favorable. And I honestly think like with the Jeff Saturday move at head coach, I think that maybe a turning point for JT's season. And I think
I
they proved it last
and,
year
and Matt
or
Ryan coming back into the
last year,
starting lineup, I think
last
is a
week.
big deal.
Yes. So those are my three that I have for a trade for. Um, Josh, do you have
So
do you
you
have
took
anything?
2 of my 3, and I have one more I like to bring up because I think it's going to be. Actually, I can come up with a couple more. Antonio Gibson's the one that hasn't been mentioned, especially with the McKissick
Yep.
news that he's on IR. I do think Gibson gets some volume work, and I really do like that perspective. He may not be like your fantasy hero when it comes into playoffs, but I think if you get him right now, he is going to push you into the playoffs at least. The schedule does favor a little bit better in that regard.
Okay.
I would also put potentially Devin Duvernay, but that one I think is if you need the longest of long shots. Because I think he like Swift is very volatile right now, and that's someone I wouldn't technically go for. I would also put Olave in this category as well because the targets will be there, and I really do think that the patience is running very thin on Andy Dalton, and once Jameis is in there, Olave goes way up.
Okay. Okay. I could see that.
Ethan,
Yeah. So I obviously agree with Gibson, JT, JT being a big one, Chris Godwin that we mentioned earlier. My biggest one to kind of be different is I'm looking at Amari Cooper.
dude, I'm
Okay.
happy you brought this up because I was tempted. I'm very tempted. My only issue is I have no idea how this Deshaun Watson thing is going to play out.
Yep.
But I mean, if
I
you're swinging
agree.
for playoffs,
If you're swinging for
scared
That
money
playoffs,
that would
don't
be cool.
make money.
That is true. And the thing is, he's been way better at home than the road. And
Yep.
there's a lot of I'll double check how many home games. So I think it's like the last 4 or 5 is home.
So here, week 15, home versus Baltimore, home versus New Orleans. Championship week is at Washington.
But even before
Mm.
that, I mean, obviously Buffalo's neutral site, but Tampa Bay is home. Houston, he'll be fine, and then you go into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely
Two
think
away,
that's
one
very
home.
possible. Um,
But it's an option. Like if
Yeah.
you're looking for an option, he's an option.
and actually, I know we talked about Godwin earlier. I'll have one more tight end person to add because I think it's a very interesting. Obviously Dulcich, but Dulcich is probably on rosters right now. K. Dotton, I think, is a
Mhm.
worthy tight end play. If we're talking about the great
For
matchup
playoffs.
Okay.
for playoffs
Yeah.
for Godwin, I think Kate Otten deserves to be in that category as well.
Yeah. I think so too. That's actually I'm glad you brought him up because
Yeah,
that's
because week 7 on
that's
let's
somebody that
see,
you
we
should be
got
shooting for.
10, 3, 17, and 6 going into week 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even his snap percentages, like after Pittsburgh, 81, 91, 85, and then 61 this past week. But
Yeah.
that was just a weird Seattle game. But now you get the bye week at the perfect time, and we always know rookies always play better after the bye.
Yep.
Yep. We get a break. Okay, so is that our is that all of our trade
I believe
for
that's all of our
candidate?
trade for.
Okay. So now I have one that I think you'll agree on, and I think I have one that is kind of controversial. And I'll explain why. It goes along with that whole um Cooper trade for. Um the controversial one is Nick Chubb, the trade away candidate.
Ooh.
Sell high. Sell high. He's the number 2 running back right now.
Mhm.
He's 4 years in. Actually, this is his 5th year in the league. And he's looking great, but how much longer? So if you're in Dynasty, look to the future. How many first round picks can you get for Nick Chubb right now?
1.
Ooh. I think you can get 2, especially if it's from someone
2
who's
as is. 2 alone.
2 alone
Yeah.
as
One
is,
and one in
plus
package.
plus a
yeah
developmental
because the
player.
thing is, I think the people looking at Chubb right now are people in contention, so they know that
Yep.
most likely they have a late first, not an early first.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
if
I
you're
think you can
going for
convince
Chubb,
the
you better
second
be
round.
number 1 or 2 seed right now.
So
Yeah.
if
If
you're
you're
going
not,
for Chubb
do not
right
go
now,
for Chubb.
but right now the sellers of Chubb, seeing Watson getting ready to come back in 2 weeks, and seeing the potential swing of the offense from being very Nick Chubb oriented to now
Mhm.
having a quarterback that can run and having a quarterback that can throw, it may threaten him and his volume.
Oh,
So
do we know
that's the only question that I have is what's going to happen after Watson gets here.
do we
And
know
we
Nick
really
Chubb's
probably
contract situation? Like, how many years does he have left on the deal? Because
think
he
he's
signed
I
a
think it's-
relatively
I think it's-
short deal.
I think it's 2.
I'm gonna look. I'm gonna
I
look right
think
now.
it's 2.
Okay. Let's look. All right. So we are in the middle of year 2, or yeah, year 2 of his contract. So he's signed through the end of 2024 season.
Ooh,
So
Yeah, so 2
okay.
years.
more years.
2
Two more
2023
years.
and 2024.
Now we gotta know what the dead cap
But
is.
there's the
Oh,
dead cap.
the dead cap is
Dead
yikes.
cap is 16 this year
Yeah.
and 10 next year.
Oh,
then
the
4
dead cap
million
is
the year
4.
after
Oh,
that.
so they. Oh,
So they may
they're
get rid of him after
okay.
next year.
They're planning to have a new running back by in 2024.
Yeah. So do you sell high? Potentially right now.
Yes, sell right now and
Yeah, I
sell
think it
high.
has to be right now
And
because you're not because
once Watson comes back, there will
It-
be a change.
there is no turning back once Watson gets in.
Yep.
Yeah,
It-
right now you're seeing the last embers of what made Nick Chubb Nick Chubb.
Dang, did we just say Nick Chubb, Tennessee now? Like,
Oh Jesus! No, let's not even go down that train. Josh, who's your trade away?
all right, so I have two.
I still have one.
Oh, you
I
have
still
one more? Who's the other one? Who's the other one?
Alvin Kamara.
In Dynasty, yes.
Trade him away. Yeah, in Dynasty, not in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took this from a very redraft perspective. So thank you for doing the Dynasty perspective, like what this podcast was kind of built upon. But so I'm going to tell you my two, and they're both receivers. Tyler Lockett and Christian Kirk.
Okay.
Because yeah, those are my
Okay.
trade away candidates. Because believe it or not, do you gentlemen want to guess what their ranking is? What, obviously without looking, but like where
They're
is
top
their
20.
ranking?
Kirk is top 20, isn't he?
You are correct that he's top 20. Any specific guesses?
16.
19.
Guys, he's the wide receiver 7.
What?
Yes. According to our point system, he is the wide receiver 7.
Oh God, he is.
And then his playoff push right now is Dallas, Jets, and Houston. So
Yeah,
obviously,
Geno Smith done him
It's
right.
not a bad schedule.
Yeah, and then Tyler Lockett. All right, guess Tyler Lockett now.
Is he's got to be
Wow.
top.
Sorry,
He's
I
probably
just
top
saw him.
15.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, he's
Go
the
ahead.
number 10 receiver in PPR,
It's crazy.
and he has San Francisco, Kansas City, and the Jets. So obviously, both of those are like, you've probably been like, believe it or not, they're top 10 receivers. And I think you can use that sell to go get a Chris Godwin and plus other players to help you with the playoff push. Like, imagine if you were able to get Chris Godwin and Antonio Gibson for a Christian Kirk. And I do think that's actually legitimate like value at the moment, just considering what the play has been so far. But especially in the redraft scenario, I would do that trade in a heartbeat. And I do think they have really tough playoff matches. It's exactly like Michael Pittman last year. Michael Pittman was doing really
Yeah.
good, top 20 receiver, but boy, oh boy, did you want to avoid that playoff matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Agreed.
I agree with those. I like them. I like your tradeaways. So, Ethan, what did you have? Do you have anything?
Mine are not going to be well liked.
Ooh, I'm
Oh,
interested
okay.
here. I am
Go
interested.
ahead.
Get rid of Tyreek Hill.
Interesting. What's your reasoning?
Man, you could get a king's ransom for him right now.
You can get a lot for Tyreek Hill if you sell right now.
And sell to a
His
Tua
playoff
owner.
schedule is Buffalo week 1. So week 15 of the playoffs,
Yeah,
you're playing Buffalo.
Interesting.
Then you go to
interesting.
Green Bay, which is a good matchup for him. But you finish in the championship against the Patriots.
Interesting.
And Belichick has been known to stop Tyreek Hill.
And to shut down Miami.
Yeah. I mean, ooh, man. That is
Sell Tyreek.
that is so bold. And even then, we also have to consider the dynasty impact as well. I mean, there is no better time to sell Tyreek Hill than now. I just think he may be a person where you like, you know what, we're in ride or die territory. But I like the boldness of the choice because you know that you can get a haul, and it just depends on the right team you take him to. Like it has to be a situation where you're probably what 7-3, 6-4 in that category. If you have Tyreek Hill, now try trading
At worst, you're 6-4.
Yeah, at worst. Now try trading him to the person who's 4-6 and is clawing to get back in. I think they would be desperate enough to take the deal.
Okay. All right.
Personally, I wouldn't do it if I had Tyreek Hill. And actually, I'm doing this as an example. I won't trade Tyreek Hill. But man,
I'm trading him. I'm trading him for.
I see the logic behind it.
I ever will.
I have to chew on it, to be honest.
Okay, go ahead.
Your next one, Ethan?
Myself?
Yeah, your sell.
I'll do a sell QB. If you got Geno Smith,
yeah. I mean, it's basically the same logic as
Yeah,
I can see it. I see it.
Sell Geno.
To someone desperate
I
for
didn't
a
even
QB.
have faith in him this year. I think teams are going to figure him out, and I don't think he's gonna do very well next year, at least.
Sorry, Geno. I think you're a heck of a football player. The NFL owes you an apology.
Yeah.
I don't like your fantasy playoff schedule.
Yeah, it's just super rough this year.
Yeah.
But man, is Seattle at a point where they could be like, what if we just punted on QB and just didn't go for it?
And then they did. They went for it hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Seattle will
I'm
still
surprised.
be a playoff team. Geno's still going to be good, but I mean,
but have you guys
not on
seen,
my fantasy team?
But have you guys seen the basically the draft order? Because they have a top 5 pick, and I think they are
from who?
They are from
Denver.
Yeah, from the Broncos.
Because it's been dangerous out here. So that's where
they are not riding.
Yeah, they are definitely not riding, but like that's where, man, that is going to be the off-season question for me, because I think either that's where the third quarterback is taken, or we're seeing there's a clear tier level at quarterback. Just that's just kind of like off the cuff, like thinking right there. But
yeah,
that one's going to be a very interesting question.
Yep.
Alrighty, guys.
Okay. So let's go ahead, and we're done with our trade for and trade away section. We are going to go on to our signature segment of our show and do bust, sleeper, lock for the playoffs. Who are your busts, Josh?
Kenneth Walker.
Whoa.
Again, it's the matchup.
Okay.
It scares me.
Okay.
And he's one person I think a lot of people have just depended on. especially as soon as Rashad Penny went down, and as soon as a bunch of other things just kind of transpired. But now I'm nervous about the schedule, and I think he's about to crush some fantasy dreams.
Okay. Okay. All right. What's yours?
Aaron Rodgers.
Why Aaron Rodgers?
Because Aaron Rodgers is a piece of crap.
Oh
He's a
my
trash QB, and his
Gosh.
playoff schedule is Rams, Miami, and Minnesota. I don't like the playoff schedule, and I hate the QB even more.
I mean, they've also transitioned
I'm
to
throwing
running
the QB princess in the trash.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can see that they've transitioned to just straight up running the ball. It looks a lot like Matt LaFleur at Tennessee,
Yeah.
and now it's like,
And
if-
Aaron Rodgers is trash.
if you're not scoring touchdowns, I think is the fear. But granted, I don't think
Yeah.
you're starting him anyway. Well, you shouldn't be, and if you are, may God rest your soul.
May God have mercy on your soul
Yeah,
and forgive you for having Aaron Rodgers on your team. He should be on waivers.
Ryan, who is your bust?
My bust. Man, my bust is Alvin Kamara.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
the Saints are going to
yeah, I
crash and
kinda
burn
went
over this
along
final
with my
stretch.
trade away. But Alvin Kamara, I don't think for the rest of this season, when Jameis Winston comes back, I don't think Kamara is going to get the usage that he is used to.
Well, and that team is just so bad right now.
Yeah. So I think Kamara is a bust for the rest of the year. And with the suspension looming from his domestic
Altercation.
issues or his
Yeah.
altercation off the field, I think with that looming over the next year, that's a lot of the reason why I put him as a trade away candidate in the Dynasty League. So I think yeah, he's a bust for the rest of this year.
I like that pick.
So yeah. All right, moving on to sleepers. Josh,
Alrighty,
ahead
guys. I'm
and
going
talk
with
about
a
your
tight end
sleeper.
option. I thought of. Trust me, tight end. I had like 5 or 6 options.
Yeah.
Give me the
Do it.
Muth.
Oh, Muth. Okay.
And just because he has the most targets on the team right now, if Kenny Pickett does improve,
He is the leader.
yeah, I just think it's enough to warrant interest. He's in a weird category right now that he's not doing enough or is about to do something, and you don't know which one it is. So I'm very intrigued by that, but I do think he could sneakily get like 8 to 10 points a game, and that could save your season.
Yeah. Okay. So he's a tight end sleeper for you. Ethan, what is your sleeper for the
Godwin.
fantasy playoffs? What was it?
Godwin.
Godwin.
Yep, I like
Okay.
that
Locking
pick.
it in. Locking
right.
it in. We've talked a lot
So-
about him. I'm a believer. Godwin.
Yeah. So I've got one we've already talked about. JT being a
Yep.
sleeper for these playoffs. And then another one that I am I'm iffy on, but if he keeps up this production, he might end up becoming wide receiver 1 for Green Bay. Christian Watson.
Ooh.
So a sleeper.
We were right. Not just
A low end sleeper. Maybe we were
low end
right.
sleeper.
maybe.
Maybe we were right. Who knows? I'm taking a chance on it. So those are our sleepers.
Can I bring up
for-
one more sleeper?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, well, look at these last 2 games for Christian Watson really quickly. 36 against Dallas, 21 against Tennessee.
Yeah, it's been multiple touchdowns too. Like
Yeah.
he's
he's been very touchdown dependent. He doesn't get a lot of
But if you think about just
volume.
whatever game he's like, the first time he's in, they're forcing it to him. Like It's
Yeah.
the plan that's like we have to make sure that like he gets going. And
Well,
now
he's
it's
so dang
finally.
athletic. I mean,
I wouldn't say
and he's so
touchdown dependent
fast.
because he's getting 6+ targets.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
now he is.
Now he
That's
is.
the crazy part. Is like, oh no, the targets are here now. So, and he's only going to get better. We talked about the massive learning curve he had because of what happened with everything like for the last 2 years and the fact that he was at an FCS school.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I think the injuries for Green Bay's wide receiving core also helped him.
yep,
They did with Dobbs. Um, I think just with Dobbs getting out of his way and Lazard kind of struggling the last couple of weeks, he hasn't looked great, but he hasn't,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah,
he hasn't
he literally
sucked.
had like
But
11 targets
yeah,
against Tennessee, and it just
it didn't pan out.
yeah,
So the only
Yeah.
one that's been really
But
producing has been Christian Watson. So
yep.
let's
maybe
do it, boys.
Aaron Rodgers
Let's
maybe
go.
Yeah,
starting
can I do
to
one more
trust him a little
sleeper?
more.
Because the
Yeah,
more
go
I
ahead.
keep looking at it,
Go
the more
ahead.
I keep believing in it. Um, it's ETN. I think
Okay.
it's a little nervous because it's Dallas, the Jets, and
Yeah.
Houston. However, I the
Well, but
Jets,
two of those matchups have terrible run defenses.
yeah, it's the Jets one that scares you
Yeah.
because it's the semifinal one. But if
Yeah.
you really think about it, and this is I almost put him in, but JT just has a better overall that I put JT above. The Jets have a gauntlet before they play Jacksonville when it
Yeah.
comes to run for rushing offenses. New England, Chicago, Minnesota, Buffalo, and Detroit before they play Jacksonville. And
Yeah.
literally the most pass
That's pretty
happy is
brutal.
going to be Buffalo and Minnesota. But besides that, all those teams
But
run the
that's a
ball.
balanced. Those are two
Yeah,
balanced
those are two
teams.
balanced teams. All the other teams, it is you better get ready for like 60 minutes of pain. So
Yeah.
I definitely think ETN's in this sleeper category.
And then they're gonna get to ETN and be like, oh God, he's gonna run the ball again, and then just watch him run past.
Oh god, he runs 4-3.
Yeah. So that is our sleepers.
Lock time, baby.
Josh, let's go on to your
Lock it
lock.
in. Playoff
Lock it
push.
in. Lock it in.
Bring me the king.
That's my lock too. That's my lock too.
Now bring
King
me Diggs.
Henry
Bring me
is
Diggs.
a lock.
That's fair. Yeah, Ethan, that's fair. That's fair.
What did he say?
Diggs. Diggs all the
Diggs.
way.
Okay.
I'm
Diggs
okay with
Diggs
I
is
think
the
both.
wide
yeah.
receiver that
Yeah,
will
both
win
of
you a
these.
championship.
I think
Both
so
of these
too.
are yeah. Yep.
I really
So
like both of those.
y'all, that is our dream lineup. Our dream lineup for the playoffs, otherwise known as the championship
Yeah.
cheat sheet. I don't know what we're gonna call it this week, but we'll just call it the playoff dream lineup. But that's it for this week. Hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. Spend it with your family. Eat a
Watch
lot of
some
turkey.
football.
Watch some football.
Watch
That's what
all the
Thanksgiving's all
football.
about. So,
It is all about football, nothing
yep.
else.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, y'all, and we will see you on Sunday for our week 12. Yes, week
Week
12.
11.
Well, no,
Week
week
12
12. Yeah, week
review.
12 review.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, 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 yeah. Got you. I'm tracking now.
All right.
Alrighty,
Oh,
guys.
and be sure, sorry, before y'all get out of here, be sure to like and subscribe this video and this channel on YouTube and follow us on all of our social media pages,
Do it.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Last Place FP. And yeah, y'all have a great
Yep. And then just
Thanksgiving.
letting you guys know, there will not be a week 12 news and injuries. We've chosen to spend that with our families, and
Yep.
we're going to keep it that way. That's why we went extra long on this. So our next one will be the review. Don't forget to hit the notification just so you can
Yep.
know whenever we post a podcast episode for you.
And always remember, sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're Ryan.
Yep.
All righty. And we will see y'all very soon.